China announced these sanctions in an effort to safeguard its sovereignty and security interests. We once again call on the U.S. government to stop these provocations and remain committed to the One China principle.
China has thrown down the gauntlet, exposing the glaring hypocrisy of the United States with a stunning display of defiance that has left Washington reeling, in a move that has sent shockwaves through the geopolitical landscape. Beijing has slapped sanctions on major U.S. defense firms, including Raytheon, General Dynamics, and Lockheed Martin, turning the tables on the very nation that has long wielded economic power as a weapon against its adversaries. The irony is palpable as the U.S., notorious for its unilateral sanctions and coercive economic tactics, now finds itself at the receiving end of a strategic masterstroke by China. The audacity of Beijing to target American giants with significant business stakes in China exposes a vulnerability that Washington can no longer ignore. This is not just a tit-for-tat response, it is a calculated assault on the American economic hegemony that threatens to unravel the very fabric of global trade. As the Biden administration grapples with the fallout, the question remains, can the U.S. maintain its moral high ground when its own actions are under the microscope? Stay with us till the end as we delve into this explosive confrontation that promises to redefine the global order. Hello and welcome back to Innovative Check YouTube channel, where we delve into the innovative and transformative projects changing our world. If you're new to the channel and enjoy learning about innovation stories around the world, you've come to the right place. Please subscribe, like, and comment to help boost our videos on YouTube. Beijing's recent actions have taken the U.S. by surprise as China counters American sanctions with a wave of its own punitive measures. The Chinese Foreign Ministry announced sanctions targeting 10 U.S. business executives and 12 entities connected to the defense sector, including heavyweights like Raytheon, General Dynamics, and Lockheed Martin. This bold move comes on the heels of the Biden administration's sanctions on hundreds of firms, including 20 based in China, accused of supporting Russia's military-industrial base. China's response is not merely symbolic. While U.S. laws already prohibit the sale of military technology to China, the sanctions highlight Beijing's growing frustration and willingness to push back against what it sees as unfair economic coercion. The Chinese Foreign Ministry accused Washington of ignoring China's neutral stance and constructive role in the Ukraine crisis, claiming that the U.S. has imposed illegal, unilateral sanctions, engaged in economic bullying, and seriously infringed upon the rights and interests of Chinese entities and individuals. A significant point of contention remains the U.S. continued arms sales to Taiwan, which China views as a direct challenge to its sovereignty. Although the U.S. does not officially recognize Taiwan, it has pledged to support the island's self-defense under the Taiwan Relations Act of 1979. This commitment further complicates Sino-American relations, adding another layer of tension to an already strained dynamic. Jonathan Ward, a senior fellow at the Hudson Institute, notes that China's sanctions on U.S. aerospace and defense firms have become a standard retaliatory measure. However, this latest round of sanctions raises the stakes significantly by targeting companies with substantial business interests in China, such as Boeing and General Dynamics. Boeing's commercial sales of planes, including the 737 and 77 airliners, are particularly noteworthy as they underscore the potential economic fallout from this escalating tit-for-tat. Ward predicts that as geopolitical tensions continue to mount, Beijing will increase pressure on foreign companies to choose between American national security interests and China's economic opportunities. This growing hostility is a stark warning to Western businesses operating in China, signaling a potentially hostile market environment in the near future. Just a quick reminder to hit the like button below. YouTube has been restricting my videos a lot recently because of bots. So your like does help out this video massively in terms of the algorithm in YouTube. In addition to the sanctions, China's Commerce Ministry has launched an anti-dumping probe against producers of industrial plastic from the US, Japan, Taiwan, and the EU. This move follows EE's investigations into alleged Chinese dumping and tariffs imposed by President Joe Biden on a range of Chinese exports. The anti-dumping probe is a clear indication that Beijing is prepared to use all available tools to defend its economic interests and retaliate against what it perceives as unfair trade practices. As the situation evolves, it is evident that the U.S. and China are locked in a complex and increasingly confrontational economic struggle. The repercussions of these actions are likely to be felt across global markets, with businesses and investors closely monitoring developments for any signs of de-escalation or the broader implications of this conflict extend beyond the immediate economic impact, potentially reshaping international alliances and trade relationships for years to come. The Biden administration faces a delicate balancing act as it navigates this turbulent landscape. On one hand, it must maintain a firm stance against what it sees as China's unfair trade practices and support for Russia. On the other, it needs to manage the potential economic fallout and maintain stability in global markets. This challenge is further compounded by domestic political pressures and the need to address concerns from U.S. businesses affected by the sanctions and trade restrictions. Chinese President Xi Jinping has made it clear that China will not back down in the face of what it perceives as U.S. aggression. In recent speeches, Xi has emphasized the importance of national sovereignty and economic self-reliance, signaling a determination to counter any external pressures. This rhetoric is backed by substantial state support for key industries and a strategic push to reduce dependence on foreign technology and supply chains. The U.S.-China economic conflict is not just a bilateral issue, but a focal point in a broader geopolitical struggle. Other nations are watching closely, weighing their own economic and strategic interests as they navigate this complex landscape. The EU, in particular, finds itself in a challenging position, balancing its economic ties with both the U.S. and China while addressing its own trade disputes and strategic priorities. In this high-stakes environment, the actions and decisions of key players will have far-reaching consequences. Businesses, policymakers, and international organizations must stay vigilant and adaptable, ready to respond to a rapidly changing geopolitical and economic landscape. The need for strategic foresight and careful navigation has never been more critical as the world watches the unfolding drama between the U.S. and China with keen interest and concern. As Beijing and Washington continue their economic sparring, the international community must grapple with the broader implications of this conflict. The potential for a prolonged economic standoff could lead to significant disruptions in global trade, investment flows, and economic growth. The stakes are high, and the outcomes uncertain, as two of the world's largest economies vie for dominance and influence on the global stage. The unfolding narrative of U.S.-China economic relations is a testament to the complexities and interdependencies of the modern global economy. It highlights the challenges of navigating a multipolar world where economic power is increasingly distributed and where national interests often collide with global realities. The resolution of this conflict will require not only strategic acumen and diplomatic skill, but also a recognition of the interconnected nature of the global economy and the need for collaborative solutions to shared challenges. As the situation develops, the world will be watching closely, anticipating the next moves of both Beijing and Washington. The decisions made in the coming months and years will shape the future of international trade, economic policy, and geopolitical relations, setting the stage for a new era of global interaction and competition. The outcome of this economic struggle will have lasting implications, not just for the U.S. and China, but for the entire world, as nations navigate the complexities of a rapidly changing global order. If you are enjoying this video so far, please don't forget to subscribe, share the video, and comment. The economic standoff between the U.S. and China continues to evolve, each side taking calculated steps to protect its interests and assert its dominance. Beijing's recent sanctions, particularly targeting major U.S. defense firms, signal a shift in strategy. By focusing on companies with significant business operations in China, Beijing aims to exert pressure on the U.S. economy directly. The implications of this move are far-reaching, affecting not only the targeted companies but also their extensive networks of suppliers, partners, and customers around the globe. The Chinese Foreign Ministry's accusations against the U.S. highlight a broader narrative that Beijing is keen to promote. It portrays itself as a defender of international norms and multilateralism, contrasting with what it describes as the unilateral and coercive actions of the U.S. This narrative is designed to garner support from other nations, particularly those who have also felt the impact of U.S. sanctions and trade policies. By positioning itself in this way, China aims to build a coalition of countries willing to push back against American economic hegemony. The reaction from the U.S. has been predictably firm, With officials reiterating their commitment to holding China accountable for its actions, the Biden administration's sanctions on Chinese firms allegedly supporting Russia's military efforts underscore this resolve. These measures are part of a broader strategy to counter China's influence and curb its support for countries and entities deemed adversarial to U.S. interests. However, this approach also carries risks, as it could further escalate tensions and lead to a prolonged economic confrontation with significant global repercussions. One of the key figures in this unfolding drama is U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken. Blinken has been a vocal critic of China's actions and has played a central role in shaping the U.S. response. In recent statements, he has emphasized the need for a united front among Western allies to address the challenges posed by China. This includes not only economic sanctions, but also broader strategic measures to counter China's influence in regions like the Indo-Pacific. Blinken's stance reflects the broader U.S. strategy of leveraging alliances to bolster its position in the global arena. On the Chinese side, Foreign Minister Wang Yi has been equally vocal in defending Beijing's actions and criticizing U.S. policies. Wang's statements often highlight what he describes as the double standards and hypocrisy of the U.S., pointing to America's own extensive use of sanctions and its involvement in various global conflicts. This rhetorical approach is designed to shift the focus away from China's actions and onto the perceived failings of the U.S., thereby undermining the moral authority of American criticisms. The economic dimensions of this conflict are complex and multifaceted. For example, the aviation industry is particularly vulnerable to the fallout from these sanctions. Boeing, one of the major targets of China's recent measures, has a significant presence in the Chinese market. The commercial aviation sector, already reeling from the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic, faces additional challenges as geopolitical tensions disrupt supply chains and market access. The stakes are high, with billions of dollars in potential sales and thousands of jobs on the line. Another critical area of impact is the technology sector. Companies like TSMC and ASM, which are key players in the global semiconductor supply chain, find themselves caught in the crossfire. The semiconductor industry is a crucial component of the modern economy, underpinning everything from consumer electronics to advanced military systems. Disruptions in this sector could have wide-ranging implications, affecting industries across the globe and potentially slowing the pace of technological innovation. The financial markets are also highly sensitive to these developments. Investors closely monitor the actions of both the U.S. and Chinese governments, looking for signs of escalation or de-escalation. Market volatility is a natural consequence of such geopolitical uncertainties. With stock prices of affected companies fluctuating in response to new developments, the broader economic implications are significant, as prolonged instability could undermine investor confidence and hinder economic growth. The international community's response to this conflict is varied. Some countries, particularly those with strong economic ties to both the U.S. and China, find themselves in a difficult position. They must navigate a delicate balance, seeking to maintain positive relations with both superpowers while protecting their own national interests. This is particularly true for nations and regions like Southeast Asia and the EU, which are heavily integrated into the global economy and reliant on stable international trade relations. For policymakers, the challenge lies in developing strategies that address the immediate concerns while also considering the long-term implications. This requires a nuanced understanding of the global economic landscape and the ability to anticipate and respond to changing dynamics. It also involves a recognition of the interconnected nature of the modern economy, where actions in one part of the world can have ripple effects across the globe. In Washington, the Biden administration faces the dual task of addressing domestic economic concerns and managing international relations. The sanctions on China are part of a broader effort to assert American leadership and protect national security interests. However, these measures also carry the risk of economic retaliation from China, which could impact U.S. businesses and consumers. Navigating this complex landscape requires careful consideration and strategic planning. Meanwhile, in Beijing, President Xi Jinping continues to consolidate his power and assert China's role on the global stage. Xi's administration is focused on reducing dependence on foreign technology and building a self-reliant economy. This includes significant investments in domestic industries and efforts to expand China's influence through initiatives like the Belt and Road Initiative. These strategies are designed to bolster China's economic resilience and enhance its ability to withstand external pressures. The broader geopolitical context of this conflict cannot be ignored. The U.S.-China economic standoff is part of a larger struggle for global influence and leadership. Both countries are vying for dominance in key areas such as technology, trade, and military power. This competition is likely to shape the international order for years to come, with significant implications for global stability and prosperity. As the situation continues to unfold, it is clear that there are no easy solutions. The path forward will require careful diplomacy, strategic foresight, and a willingness to engage in constructive dialogue. Both the U.S. and China must find ways to manage their differences and work towards a more stable and cooperative global economic system. The stakes are high, and the consequences of failure are significant, not just for these two superpowers, but for the entire world. Thank you for your attention, and I welcome your thoughts and questions on this complex and vital subject. Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, please like and share the video and subscribe to get exclusive videos about how phenomenally China is developing and growing its influence. Your subscriptions and likes motivate us to generate more content, so please keep supporting us. Check out this video showing on your screen right now, and I will see you on the other side.